The international tennis tournament, the Laver Cup, kicks off today. It's a three-day affair with 12 top tennis players and an even more impressive legacy. It's also a nearly sold-out event that has to be staged with COVID concerns in mind. Joining us right now to talk about all of this is Roger Federer. He's a co-founder of the Laver Cup, which is one we all know about. He's also one of the greatest tennis players of all time with 20 Grand Slam singles titles. Tony Godsick is a fellow co-founder and chairman of the Laver Cup, and John McEnroe, a tennis legend, a champion and current Laver Cup world team captain. And gentlemen, welcome to all three of you. Roger, I was hoping we could start off just talking about the Cup itself, who Rod Laver was to you, and why this platform is so important.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the legacy is really important that we remember it in tennis because we have a really rich history. And Rod Laver, of course, I think was a hero to a lot of us, especially Bjorn Borg, also to John. And then to me, he's that big legend who was able to win 2 times the Grand Slam, winning all 4 majors in the same year. And he is also the one that went from amateur sport to professional sport. So that's where the idea came in with Tony and myself once on a ride in Shanghai, that we could do something for the legacy of the game and incorporate all the young ones coming through and learning from the best, like John and Bjorn as an example, and having the rivals become teammates. And I think the first 3 editions have been wonderful in Prague, Chicago, and also in Geneva. Now finally we're here in Boston starting today.
John, you are just ubiquitous when it comes to tennis. I think everybody knows you, any tennis fan anywhere, because of your years of involvement, what you do in terms of announcing. But this in particular, with working with some of the younger players, what does it mean to you, and how do you think your chances are versus Team Europe?
Well, first of all, Becky, I want to say hello to Squawk Box. Where's Joe? I can't see anyone.
He's here.
Joe,
I'm here.
Joe is avoiding me because he was on my show. You know, I did a show on CNBC, and I think Joe was my most frequent guest.
Okay.
And at that time, he was espousing lower. You were espousing lower taxes for the rich, I believe, because I heard a segment you just talked about.
Nothing's changed.
You know,
Nothing's changed.
Well, that's what I'm about to ask, because Bezos and these guys like Zuckerberg, they're doing okay. So are you feeling okay about them paying no tax at all?
We just had that discussion.
And then I'll answer the question.
We just had that discussion. In the tax bill, we're not taxing them again. We're just taxing merely wealthy people like you.
John, you need to come and just sit where I sit, and then it'll work a lot better.
Hey,
some things never change, and you still got your wig on, right?
I still got my wig on, but you know what? When did you finally leave? Because I barely recognize you, but I look exactly the same. Which is kind of weird.
It was 17. To hell with you, okay? But my golf game has gotten better, okay?
John, I was going to say something really nice about you. I was going to say something really nice about you. But Becky, I think we need to talk to Tony for a second, right, Beck? And then I
didn't even answer the question.
Let John answer the question. But Joe's he's fired up about this, John. He's got a ton of stuff coming for you.
I got a million things, Johnny, because
I don't know. Okay, you just hang on. Okay, go ahead, Joe. It's your show.
I told you, we should not allow stock to appreciate, borrow against it, and never pay any tax on it. But that's not in this bill. They ignored that. They ignored carried interest. And now if you figure out a good way to do that, I'm for that. It's not going to solve our problems because there's not enough money there, even with all the billionaires. There's not enough money to solve all our problems. But what I was going to say to you was, and I don't really feel like saying it now, you're not worthy, but I was going to say we may not know who the greatest tennis player of all time was. Maybe it's Laver, maybe it's, the 3 generational guys, you got one of them sitting there.
Maybe it's Federer.
How do we have 3 guys that generational players that will never see that happen again, that we were so blessed to have those 3? But you are by far, and I'm not blowing smoke, the best tennis analyst. When you do the U.S., if you're not there, I'm not getting the full picture of what's going on. So that's all. And you know that, I think. People must tell you that all the time, right?
Well, thank you for that. I appreciate that. It's, as you know, because you're doing it in your show every day, it's easier to be the backseat driver. We should do this, we should do that. And so I'm thankful that I have the opportunity. Well, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, what I was going
then
to
I'll
get to
answer
is,
the question.
For example.
Tony's getting anxious over there.
For example.
Always love hearing John talk.
When you talk about, I want to talk about men's versus women's tennis, because in the U.S., I don't even care we don't have a U.S. guy. With these three guys, with those three, I'll be sad when they're no longer around. But women, it was so amazing what we saw this year. Was it not? Didn't you enjoy that, McEnroe?
Yes, I did enjoy it very much. You had some totally unpredictable things take place, unheard of,
Yeah.
Almost as crazy as, what we've been going through in the last, 100 years. It's been a tough time for a lot of people. And so to come out the other end and have full capacity crowds and have an 18 and 19-year-old that one of them whom qualified, I mean, that hasn't happened in the history of our sport. And that's part of what Roger, I know, let me finish now, that Roger's trying to bring back with this Laver Cup is, to think out of the box, do something different. It's an individual sport. I love team sports. I played team sports. And this has been a huge success. So I'm quite hopeful that I'll be part of it a little bit longer. I know my days are numbered because I've lost all 3 times. So I'm under the gun right now. But I've loved being part of this. I think the players have, the fans are pumped up. So, the tennis has to think out of the box more to get themselves back in the mix. Over to you, Mr. Federer and Mr. Godsick.
Well, Tony, let's jump into you, because the whole reason for this cup, I mean, you're an amazing agent. I think part of that is because you know what people want. People want to see these legends. They want to see play in this way. How did this come about, and how are you dealing with the COVID changes? It's a sold-out event this year after being canceled last year.
Yeah, thanks, Becky. We wanted to do, as Roger said, we wanted to do something to honor Rod Laver and his fellow Barnstormers, who sort of took off like 4.5 years from playing Grand Slams to usher in the professional game. So we were really into the Ryder Cup. We liked what they were doing. We thought, how great would it be if rivals could become teammates? I mean, normally with other events, you see country versus country, and this gave an opportunity for rivals to be on the same team. So we sort of just sketched it out on a piece of paper, and the format is what works. And so we've been very fortunate to have, this is our 4th sellout since we started in Prague, and people love it. The players get together. These guys are killing each other day in and day out on the tour, and so giving them an opportunity to sort of be on a team for one weekend would be great. Now, in terms of COVID, it's true. It was a tough year. We had to take last year off. Obviously, the whole world has been suffering, but we decided we needed to run it this year, and we've got 3 levels of protection here in Boston. The city of Boston has mandated masks, so everyone in the building will have to wear a mask. We, on top of that, said, okay, everyone who's got a vaccine card needs to show it. And if you aren't vaccinated, then you need to show a PCR test within 48 hours. So for us, the most important thing this year here in Boston is to provide a healthy event. And you see it. Wimbledon had full crowds. The U.S. Open did an amazing job. They had full crowds, and we'll have full crowds here. So we're certainly very excited for this weekend.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.